car brand spent $4.2 billion in acquisitions in one day. The White House put its weight behind swipe fee legislation again, and Illinois told retailers they will have to take cash. Here's your payments news for this week. So today, it's August 5th. It's Wednesday again. So I have 6 pieces of news that we're going to talk about here today. The first one and the big one is for anybody that's in the fraud prevention space. It was big news for us this week. Visa bought BioCatch for $2.4 billion. So they agreed Monday to buy Tel Aviv-based BioCatch from Primeria Funds and other shareholders for $2.4 billion. It's the second fraud acquisition they've done in 2 years after the $1 billion FeatureSpace deal they did back in 2024. A lot of us remember that. BioCatch, they're kind of a behavioral biometrics company. They analyze keystrokes, touch gestures, and device handling for about 350 banking clients in 21 countries. And they cover about 1.8 billion devices with 760 million users in their database. The company was valued at $1.3 billion in September 2024. So Visa's paying close to double that in just under 2 years. For the action item coming out of this one, acquirers and PSPs that resell third-party fraud tooling should expect behavioral biometrics to reappear as Visa value-added service and should price their own stack accordingly before their next renewal. This has been big news. This was the largest acquisition for any company in our space. And, ThreatMetrics went in the mid-800s a while ago, and to see them really crossing $1 billion and going really hard has been proof in the pudding that there's still a lot of value in the space. Fraud continues to grow. It still continues to be a large focus for a lot of merchants, especially enterprise merchants that take this sort of thing very seriously. The behavioral biometrics is something that I've been watching myself for a long time, because it's traditional rules-based systems and just device intelligence isn't enough anymore. You have to go a layer deeper, especially with agentic coming in. There's going to be a lot of focus on who's a real customer, who's an agent, what the agents are doing, and how you can kind of find the middle ground in that. So super interesting acquisition. I know Visa had been on the market for finding a tool to enhance their offering. They've had Decision Manager for a long time. They spent a lot of money trying to enhance that product. The FeatureSpace acquisition was, part of that, but really stepping up their game with this acquisition. So love to see where this is going to go, and congrats to everybody involved, both on the Visa side and on the BioCatch side on that. Another acquisition, Mastercard, not to be outdone with their big news last week. They finally closed on the deal that they did a while ago, $1.8 billion for BVNK. They completed their acquisition of London-based stablecoin infrastructure firm BVNK on August 3rd. That deal was announced way back in March for $1.8 billion, including contingent consideration. So BVNK moves about $30 billion a year across more than 200 markets and handles both fiat and on-chain coin flows there. So Mastercard is pointing the asset to cross-border B2B remittances, payouts, settlement, and treasury rather than card-present retail. We talked a little bit about that last week. This is a tool that can be used to minimize FX exposure for merchants that are taking it. Stablecoins is an interesting space. I won't even pretend to be an expert on that. There's so much that goes into that, but it's a really interesting space that I think a lot of people need to really be watching a lot closer. So the action item coming out of this one, PSPs with meaningful cross-border payout volume should ask their MasterCard representatives how BVNK rails will be priced against their existing correspondent banking options before committing to any terms that they might have in 2027. So another one, Credit Card Competition Act is something that won't die. President Trump called interchange a ripoff in an August 3rd post supporting Senator Roger Marshall, the Republican co-sponsor of the Credit Card Competition Act, on the eve of Marshall's primary. The bill will require issuers holding $100 billion or more in assets to make at least one non-Visa, non-Mastercard routing option available on every credit card transaction. The Merchants Payment Coalition says swipe fees reached $198 billion last year, up 80% since the pandemic, with estimates $17 billion in annual merchant savings, citing CMSPI, my friends at CMSPI, their research. The bill has stalled repeatedly since 2022, most recently in March when the Senate passed a housing bill without it attached. They tried to put that in there and that got ripped out. So action item here is acquirers should scope now what dual credit card routing would require in bin files, routing tables, and interchange qualification logic, since the Durbin debit build is not a clean template for credit. So a lot going on there. A lot of people excited about that. Competition is a good thing, especially when it comes to interchange in the US and with some of the systems that we're stuck with and some of the lack of legislation around some of those fees. Another thing that's interesting is Illinois will now require retailers to accept cash starting in 2028. We've been moving since COVID. You see a lot more cashless systems. I know like some of the concert venues that I go to are all cashless systems there. But in Illinois, Governor J.B. Pritzker signed HB 4592, the Retail Cash Payment Act, on July 31st. Retailers that staff in-person consumer transactions must accept cash for purchases under $500, though they are not required to take bills larger than $20. The law takes effect January 1st, 2028, and carries fines and carve-outs for self-checkout, overnight sales, and membership-only businesses, and phone and internet orders. So merchants running cashless locations in Illinois have about 17 months to budget for drawer reconciliation, cash handling labor, and armored pickup before that deadline. So number 5, NRF data, shoplifting fell, which is good to know, but phone scams rose 69%. So the NRF's 2026 Retail Theft and Violence Report found shoplifting incidents are down 12.4%, and merchandise theft is down 8.1% in 2025. This is the first decline in several years. The offset is severe. Retailers report phone scams, though, are up 69%. Loyalty fraud is up 51%, and gift card theft and fraud is up 42%. Organized retail crime incidents are up 40%. The survey covered 66 retail companies, representing 143 brands and roughly $1 trillion in annual sales. Fraud's been moving online for a long time. The smash and grab stuff, those sorts of like run in and grab everything, those happen. But like online fraud and theft is up, and it's up a lot in first party fraud. So people liar buyer. I won't even pretend to have the numbers on that just offhand, but this is pretty interesting to see that it really, like we've been saying for a long time, fraud's moving online. But us e-commerce retailers have seen it, and there it is. So for action item out of this, merchants should audit gift card issuance and loyalty account takeovers. Loyalty accounts, way overlooked. People need to really be looking at their data on promo codes, loyalty accounts, churn, and those sorts of things, and what they're really losing on that. Since that's where the loss is migrating, even as store level theft improves. So really be looking at that. And then the last one is a judge lets trafficking claims against Visa proceed. So U.S. District Judge Wesley Hisu denied Visa's motion to dismiss claims under California's unfair competition law and the Federal Trafficking Victims Protection Reauthorization Act, writing that Visa's conduct enabling MindGeek to monetize trafficking content and provided the financial infrastructure to sustain its operations. He dismissed a civil conspiracy claim, though, against Visa with prejudice, separately denied Visa's Rule 11 sanctions motion against the plaintiff's counsel on July 22nd. Visa faces 14 other related cases to this. So the action item is acquirers of PSP should pull their high-risk merchant underwriting files and document what monitoring happened after each adverse signal, because the theory being tested is that continuing to process after notice creates a legal exposure, not just reputational risk. So those were the 6 quick ones this week. Some interesting stuff in there. Those acquisitions were huge. That's a lot of money that's being spent on these acquisitions in the space. So if you're a solution provider, you're probably looking at what BioCatch was up to, what BVNK was up to, and how they really set themselves apart. Because if acquisition is on your hopeful roadmap, there's a lot to be learned from that. Thanks everybody for listening. If you have any comments or any questions or any just thing to contribute in the comments, feel free to do that on any of the platforms that you're watching this on. We welcome community is what we're trying to build here, and engagement is something that we really want to be able to do and engage with customers, engage with merchants, engage with solution providers, and just talk about what's going on in our space. It creates a healthy dialogue that's really needed. So everybody, we'll see you next week.